here we are, Deeply Rooted, second pop-up shop here at Feast Studios, and we are just glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Sir.
Appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir. We got
Appreciate it.
Williamsburg native, Rob, the person behind Deeply Rooted, which is one of the hardest names out there for a brand. It's one of my personal favorites. It's just like such a dope name.
Appreciate
because
that, man.
it's like multi-layered and stuff. So I
Right.
really rock with it. But what is Deeply Rooted, and just talk more about what you guys do.
Well, Deeply Rooted as the name, it's, you know, like, it's a lifestyle. It's not just a name, you know what I mean? Like, I really thought about that name hard. Like, it took me a minute to come up with that. And it actually has a little backstory too. So like, Deeply Rooted, I kind of like based it off my name and my brother's name, which is like,
cool.
so my brother's name is Daniel, I'm Rob. So
Oh.
it was at first, I'm gonna give you a little like insight. So at first I was gonna call it DNR Threads. Right? That was like the original name. We used to call it that.
DNR, okay.
DNR Threads, right? So I was just like, nah, I don't really like it. It's too like, you know, basic.
Right,
like,
like PC Richards.
yeah, like it works for them, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't like it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
If, for me, like to do something, to go hard with it, I have to like, you know what I'm saying? You guys, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, Deeply Rooted, I figure, you know, everybody has to stay true to themselves, to their roots, where they're
Facts.
from. So no matter where you go. So like that's really the main thing. And plus, you know, it just goes together with the theme. I collect vintage, Deeply
Yes.
Rooted, you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes.
You're going back in time to where like shit really started, you know what I mean? And at the same time, vintage, a lot of new stuff is inspired by vintage.
Right.
Like
That is
Virgil,
true.
he blatantly takes stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and they just revamp it, put it out there. Because at the end of the day,
true.
the younger generation doesn't really know a lot about the
Correct.
vintage stuff. And this is why I do that too, like just to school the youngins and kind of like give them the game. Like, you know, for example, the Crooklyn shirt. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure no 15-year-old is gonna know what Crooklyn is or who Spike Lee is.
Right.
So that's really kind of, you know, like that's why I do it. It's really deeper than just like a clothing thing.
Yeah, but one thing I like about the just like this whole concept of just this looking for vintage stuff is like you're really searching for
It's the hunt.
It's the hunt, and you're searching for a feeling or like a memory that you had when you were younger.
Right,
So like
yeah.
I saw you had the How High shirt, and I love that movie. You know what I'm saying? I love that movie. I think of my two brothers. You know what I'm saying? And then I see that shirt, and yo, no shirt has ever like gotten that response from me. It's
Right.
like, yeah. I'm like, oh,
That's a fact.
and
It's like a
it's a
piece.
fucking 2001.
This is the second pop-up, but that was the first time you got excited. I was like, okay, all right.
So like that was a nice like introduction for me,
Right.
Like, and it's giving me more of an understanding why this is cool.
Right.
And on top of that, you know, Katie and I, we had a gig last year and we worked with some like sustainable fashion brands, and you know, one of their things was like recycle clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like just
well, it's like secondhand. But one thing I really love about this Deeply Rooted, but also buying vintage, is one of a kind. Like you really can't replicate it. So that's why it's just like even that shirt, that dope shirt that's up there that I love, and one, I love the color, but two is like I can't go online and try to find that shirt. I might not find it
You
ever.
can't, like, it's not impossible, you know what I
But
mean? You
is
just
that
gotta put in the time and like really know what you're looking for.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing with this, like, a lot of people just like buy vintage and don't even know what they're buying. Like they'll buy a vintage shirt from a show that came out like in the 70s and they don't know nothing about it, you know what I
Yes.
mean? So it's like I really buy stuff based on what I like, what I grew up on, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes,
Like
yes.
how high, I hope my mom's not watching this, but you know, I'm an avid smoker, so I'm gonna have a How
Bleep it
High
out.
shirt. You know what I mean? Like it's just like if you look at my collection, you're gonna like see a little bit.
It makes sense,
of me,
bro.
you know what I
Right,
mean?
that's
makes sense.
nice. So it's personable to you.
Yes, exactly.
I saw somebody come in earlier and, you know, they looked at this Subway Series t-shirt that you had with the New York Yankees versus the New York Mets.
The Mets, yeah.
And I remember growing up that was a thing. Like, I remember
The Subway
like, yo,
Series,
this is it. This is the weekend, you know, New York versus New York. And I remember all the marketing around the trains and stuff like that. So when I saw that shirt, I was just like,
It takes you back to that time.
yo, it is crazy.
That's what I want. That's exactly the reaction I want. Every time somebody comes in here, I want them to be like, oh, I remember this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, oh, I used to have this, or you know, my father had this, or my brother had. Like, I want that
It's
reaction.
like you're buying the story. You're buying.
You are,
you're
Yeah,
buying.
and the feeling behind it, like it means more than, it's not just a piece of clothing.
Right, yeah.
There's like a message behind it, or like a feeling attached to it.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it.
And then it gets real serious where there's like a real secondary market, and like people, there's collectibles, and like people are flipping some of these.
Like you have pawn stars, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
people like go to yard sales and flea markets, and they're looking at like antiques that could be worth millions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're rich like that.
Wow.
Like that's what I, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's not why I'm doing it, but at the same time, it's the thrill to find a piece that's worth that, and then.
It's kind of
You know what I
like
mean?
hunting a little
Yes,
bit,
exactly.
right? It's like hunting for gold.
It's
almost.
a hunt, and that's why, like you say, I have like a show in my head, like or a movie that I remember from back in the Power Rangers, for example. I'm gonna go look for Power Ranger shit, and then I'm gonna pick
there's Power Ranger fans that are willing to, you know, pay whatever to just have that. because
Exactly.
They're collecting that.
Exactly.
I follow Gary Vee a lot. He does this show where he goes on garage sales, and he be finding a bin of toys that he paid $2 for, but then is selling it on eBay for whatever amount, $75. And if you just look at that, like you're like, whoa, you
It's a
could really
flip.
find.
It's a
And it could be
flip,
coffee
quick flip.
mugs, just because everybody just has that one thing, or not one thing, multiple things that they just really rock with.
and they're gonna spend the money on it just because it's vintage and you're not gonna find it. You know what I mean? Like,
and they see the value in it too.
Exactly.
Because that's another thing. It's like scarcity. Is that the right word? Where you feel like, is that it? Like
Scarcity.
Scarcity. Don't put that. Scarcity. It's like I can't get it again.
Right.
That's the only one.
Oh yeah.
And it's just
you
like
get paranoid. It's just like, yo,
Yeah,
if I leave this, it's over.
right,
I'm not
and
gonna come across it.
and that's crazy because like even if it's like, and then you think about that stuff, like you think like, if you don't get it, I feel like a week that happens to me where like a week later I'm like, fuck,
And
why
you're
didn't I
never
get
gonna
it?
find
I'm
it again.
thinking about it, and I'm like, damn, I hope it's still there, and it's not there. So I used to work. So this is cool because I used to work for a consignment boutique.
Okay.
For like 2 years, yeah, for a long time.
Nice.
I managed a consignment boutique. Shout
Wow,
out to
see?
Slope Vintage 11.
Fire.
And so we were really like, I understood the value of
the whole
That's when I
thing,
found
yeah.
out, like, and understood the value of vintage pieces
Right.
and pieces that don't, even luxury items that don't exist, don't exist anymore, or like now, whatever. But
Word. I must have a lot of classic timeless pieces that I've given to like a lot of my family members in DR.
And you know-
without even knowing, just throughout the year, like they
Bro,
probably
same
got so
here,
many
bro.
gems.
Same here,
maybe
bro.
he wants to. Should I like go?
Nah, let him rock.
Let him rock?
Yeah. If he's interested, he'll,
Yeah, you know.
We have someone out there who's searching a little. He's we don't know who he is, but that's cool.
It gravitates. Everybody gets pulled to it.
Right,
It's such a
right.
big community, and like I'm just unaware of it just because But now like my eyes are being open, and it's just like it makes sense.
And that's funny that you say you were a manager at a consignment boutique, because even before all of this, I used to go thrifting. I used to go to stores and like buy stuff on discount, and I would go to my man who had a consignment boutique, and I would swap out. You know what I mean? I'll buy another item, or he'll give me the cash, like if it sells, and you know what I'm saying. And that's kind of how I learned like this whole consignment thing. Like,
Oh, cool.
and even Flight Club, before I started working there,
Yes.
I used to like go there and
What consignment boutique was it?
it used to be called Consortiums.
Okay.
And then he changed the name to Catalog, and now it's Pro
That's a
Cell.
dope name.
I don't know if you know what Pro Cell, like they do
never
the same
heard
thing, vintage,
Yeah.
but they're dope too. Like they've been in the game for a minute, but
That's cool.
yeah, like, and it happened, like it just happened so random. Like we just walked by one day, and like my bro knew somebody that was in the store, and then me and him just boom, and then we just started doing business. You know what I mean? And then Flight Club, I used to take stuff to them, trade.
Yes.
So I was hip to the whole thrifting thing. You know what I mean? So then like, I went to college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was lost. Like, I knew I kind of wanted to do business, but at the same time, I didn't know exactly what. Like, I hate math.
Yes.
Math is like my worst subject, so I knew I didn't want to do finance.
Yep.
So like,
Nothing was really calling.
nothing,
Yeah.
bro, nothing. I was lost. Like, and it kind of like makes me think like, man, maybe I should have took a year off, or maybe I should have, maybe
Yes.
took some time off.
Uh-huh.
But I did meet people,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? I was able to learn certain things, and then the entrepreneurship kind of came in. Like we had entrepreneurs coming in talking to us, and I'm like, damn, this is really possible. Like
right.
I could do this. Like this is not hard. I could do this. So that's what really like kind of. And then my brother, he would always like, yo, you did the paperwork. Like he would stay on top of me.
Yes.
And here we are. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Deeply rooted.
Facts.
Yeah.
And like, so when I think of deeply rooted, I think of almost like you have just like two sectors. You have one that's the venture stuff where you're selling and trading and these ventures close, but you also have your own merch where you make your own designs.
I do.
This is it?
She got one on.
Every time I wear that shirt, I get so like
He does.
I get
He
a
gets
lot
so
of
many-
reaction. First of all, it's just like a real bright pink. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you see somebody wearing that, and then it has like a little thing.
And
like,
shout out, that's Alamo too. That's what inspired it, like the whole
Nice,
ice cream thing.
nice.
So
And
I
that-
appreciate that though.
when
for
they
real.
see what's that little object on there, and it's the ice cream, and then they see Stone Cold, and Stone Cold's giving them the middle finger. It's
Feel
just
me?
like,
Like,
whoa.
yeah, we all used to eat the ice cream back in the day.
Facts,
You know what I
facts,
mean?
facts.
Like
Right.
that was like one of the best ice. That's all I used to get.
That
from
was
the
a good
ice
ice cream.
cream. It was
I used to get the X-Men joint because it comes with two
Oh,
gums.
No,
so
I'm
like the
not gonna
gumballs.
lie. I used to get like, the Sega,
Yes,
the
the
Sega,
Sonic?
the Sonic.
Yeah.
I used to get Sonic. I used to love that. I used to get Tinkerbell too. Like those ones. Those were my favorite. Like the icy
See, like
ones. Those were good.
that's what I want to bring back. You know what I mean? That's why I
Yes.
did the
Nostalgia sells.
Stone
It
Cold.
sells, bro. It sells.
Exactly. Everybody reminisces. Everybody thinks about the good old days. So why not remind them of the good old days with clothing and art and music and all types of stuff? You know what I mean?
Right, I love that. And the first pop-up too, I think it's worth mentioning how I loved how you had the Nintendo, the PlayStation.
PlayStation,
like
yeah.
PlayStation 1,
Yeah.
right? It was PlayStation 1,
Yeah.
literally PlayStation 1. You had it there and people were coming, they were playing. It was a dope vibe.
Yeah.
Everyone loved that. It was real
Appreciate that.
interactive.
It brings the youth out of people. Like
Yes.
it just,
Yes.
Right,
it
I
just brings
agree.
it out.
Yes, and that's very important in my eyes. Like we all have to
yeah.
stay young. You know what I mean? Like
It's true.
if we as we get older, we tend to take things more serious, and it's like I'm not a serious person. You know what I mean? Like nobody really ever see me mad. You know what I mean? Like you got to really get me mad to
Right.
take me there. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, man.
You are everyone, you're forever young.
I'm everywhere.
No, but it's true
yeah.
because it keeps you rooted. It keeps you rooted.
Yeah.
That's all I
You
go.
stay connected to your past, to your childhood,
Right.
to your upbringing, to your
Right.
neighborhood.
I think it's so cool that you're doing this pop-up for a second time because it does build upon your brand and it gives people an opportunity to see you, see the clothes in person, see the
Right.
vibe and feel the vibe. Because I think that's another
That's
thing
the-
too,
that's the
is
most
like
important, yeah.
you come here and you feel the vibe. Like
Right.
every time you have a pop-up, it feels like deeply rooted.
feels-
Like deeply rooted is a vibe.
That's the best
Literally.
compliment I could get, honestly. Like I'm good. Like I can leave right now. You know what I mean? Like yeah, like that's my goal. You know what I mean? Like I just want to bring the vibes back.
Yes.
Bro. Like and plus like I'm not much of a party person. Like I don't like going to clubs, popping bottles. So
Yeah.
I'd rather put that $1,000 that you're gonna spend on a bottle and do a pop up and just bring everybody together.
Word.
Like. You know what I mean? Like that's the type
Right.
of timing I'm on. Like I don't know
Facts.
about everybody else, but I know you
Facts.
guys do the same. But you know, like yeah.
Real quick, I got a question. What would you say was like one of your best finds? Like when you were out there, like
That's a good
like
question.
what's the biggest flip, and then what's your favorite find? Because they're probably two different things.
Okay, my favorite find. It's a vintage NBA Jam T-shirt that I got two. I was able to get two
NBA
for
Jam is
like
such a classic.
$160. One of them probably goes for like $400 or $500.
Wow.
Go on eBay right now, you'll see it for like $400
Wow.
or $500. But
You're not selling it?
I sold one of them. I had
Okay,
two,
okay,
so I
okay.
sold one. I'm keeping the other one.
Yeah, you gotta keep.
Maybe another 10 years you might
You know
see
it goes
what-
up. That shit, yo, you know what I mean?
The,
But,
the longer you hold it for, the more value it is because the much more difficult it is to
the
find.
NBA is not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
to have that
2K.
NBA Jam though, that's the thing.
Right,
To have
that's
that
what I'm
for the
saying.
game,
Right.
they're not making those shirts for that game.
But I'm saying
anymore.
like NBA, like when I say the NBA is not going anywhere, like it's always gonna
Yes,
be around.
basketball
So,
fans.
so the value could potentially go up. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
Like
yes, yes.
just as years go by,
Correct,
like it's,
correct.
you know.
And are you just a NBA Jam fan? Like
I
you?
love basketball. Like I grew up playing basketball. You know, I got the little. I actually thrifted this. Right, this is an original ESPN jacket. I just do my little Deeply Rooted. You know what I'm
Nice,
saying?
that's dope.
Like it's and yeah, what you
My
were
man
saying
got an
too.
ESPN jacket. He gave that for a worker. You know what I'm saying? But
You feel me? And I really didn't pay anything for this.
That's
so
fire.
yeah,
That's
man.
fire.
And like yeah, and yeah.
Word. Make sure y'all go check out Deeply Rooted, man, because he has classic pieces and he got his, his own dope merch, man.
Yes, appreciate you guys,
hopefully
man.
this is, we keep linking up and we keep providing this to the community. But
Definitely,
we appreciate you, choosing to host it at Fee Studios.
Appreciate
Thank
you, bro.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Get it.
Deeply Rooted.